Hello, I'm Jim McAleer, President and CEO here at Alzheimer's Orange County. I'm joined today by Dr. Dung Trinh, who is also a doctor, but of course a medical poobah in Orange County, and quite an expert on research. We're here today to talk about aducanumab, or Aduhelm. Aduhelm, right?
Yes.
By Biogen. So Doc, what is aducanumab and how does it work?
Aducanumab falls in a category of medications called monoclonal antibodies. Monoclonal antibodies is not new. It is FDA approved and used in multiple other conditions, mainly conditions with autoimmune disorders, cancer treatment, and things of that sort. That has been shown to be effective in those specific conditions. Now, why are we doing it for Alzheimer's is the question. I'll give you a quick general overview of what these monoclonal antibodies are, how they work. And essentially, for example, in the treatment of cancer, in the treatment of maybe rheumatoid arthritis, Crohn's disease, we create synthetically antibodies targeted to specific health conditions. Cancer treatment, we can create antibodies to target cancer. Rheumatoid arthritis, we can create specific antibodies to target the immune system that is attacking, the body's own, joints in rheumatoid arthritis. And so from the knowledge and success in some of these other health conditions, what we've done is we now have created antibodies called monoclonal antibodies to specifically target the Alzheimer's plaque, beta amyloid. And in the targeting of these plaques, they light up the plaque, and the immune system goes in there and clears the plaque. That's the general overview of how this works.
So I get that. So the beta amyloid, there's some scientists who say that may or may not be what causes Alzheimer's. Some think it's tau tangles, another protein. But this drug failed 2 trials. The evidence was not there to say that it worked, but yet the FDA did give it, I think, provisional approval, right? They still have to now do more study to see if it works. So how did it get through if it failed those earlier trials?
Yes, so Biogen did 2 phase 3 trials, around 1,600 subjects per trial, so over 3,000 patients or subjects. And what they've done is these are double-blinded clinical trials where we separate groups of patients into treatment groups and the placebo group, and we compare the results between both groups. In the first study, the first phase 3, there was no evidence of any clinical improvement with as far as cognitive improvement between the placebo group and the treatment group. That phase completely did not succeed. In the second study, Biogen halted that study early as well due to an interim analysis with an external committee put together by the FDA. And that committee, by a vote of 10 to 0, did not recommend approval for aducanumab, simply based on the lack of adequate results. So the study halted. And what was interesting was that months later,
they went back to the data, didn't they?
They went back and they looked deeper into the data. And found a subset of subjects who they did see a clinical significant finding. And what was this finding? First of all, what you should know is that aducanumab did not improve memory at all. Aducanumab did not stabilize memory. So memory did not improve, did not stabilize. What aducanumab did do in a small subset of subjects was that compared to the placebo group, there was a 22% difference in slowing down the decline of memory loss. So these patients, these subjects, still decline in memory loss, but they didn't decline as fast as the control group.
So let's hang here for a minute, because that subset is early stage. It's
Very
folks
early
in the
stage.
very early stages
Yes.
of the disease.
That's right.
So if that's true, if this drug actually does slow the progression of this disease for folks in the early stages, that would be absolutely amazing. That would be a wonderful thing. Do we know that? Do we know that it does that? Or do we think it might do that?
Well, we know that based on that subset, there was a clinical, statistically significant finding. So yes, we do know that only in that subset is what they saw.
So for a very specific group of people,
Yes.
it probably works to slow.
Possibly work, just slowing down the decline by only 22%.
And this would be why they're looking for more data and more information to
Exactly.
further validate that in those
Exactly.
levels.
This is a accelerated approval. Accelerated approval means what the FDA is saying is that this is not a standard approval where we normally have several phase 3 clinical trials that agree with each other, right, to confirm each other's data. So this is not a standard approval. It's called accelerated. What this means is that the FDA says, we understand that the data is not strong. Yet we do see that this medication, right, does remove Alzheimer's plaque, and we believe that by removing Alzheimer's plaque, this may make a difference in the subset of patients. Yet we are requiring additional studies to confirm this. So that's what accelerated approval means.
And it had some unhappy scientists. The members of their advisory board who recommended against it, 3 of them, including the guy from the Mayo, have resigned. So there's clearly some internal conflict.
Yes.
But I can see where the excitement comes from too, Doc. I mean, we deal with folks with Alzheimer's disease and their families all the time.
Right.
I've had it in my family, and anything that feels like help is hope. So I do understand where the energy comes from. There's also some energy about cost. It's $56,000 a year.
Wow.
The estimate I heard was that if it's approved and used by all the folks who would qualify for it, it will equal the cost of all other drugs in Medicare Part D. So there's a huge financial
Huge
hit here.
financial. Not only is the financial a huge hit, the testing required to even be eligible to take this medication, which is a PET scan of the brain, is not even covered by Medicare. So the testing to get to there is not even covered with that.
They also need other tests too, right? They need
Cognitive testing?
and MRIs, right? To stop-
MRIs,
because there
several
might be some
MRIs.
brain swelling.
Yes, that's a huge concern. Up to 40% of subjects in these clinical trials had documented side effects, which is essentially brain swelling. That's been documented on MRI. In addition to brain swelling, small bleeds, microhemorrhages has also been documented up to 40%.
That's a high percentage.
It's a high percentage.
So we've had other drugs. Dimebond comes to mind, the clear beta amyloid,
Yes.
one of the hallmarks of Alzheimer's disease, and yet they didn't get approved. Why do you think? And what did you call it? Not provisional approval. It's what?
Full approval.
No, this early approval.
Oh, this is accelerated approval.
Thank you. Accelerated. They didn't get an accelerated approval. Why do you think now that this Biogen compound got that accelerated approval?
I think now it's because we have 6 million Americans with the diagnosis of Alzheimer's who cannot wait another 5 years.
That's fair.
Right?
That's fair. So I read an article this morning that's all over the news, of course, that said that there's a Lilly drug that they had pretty much pulled in another drug company study that both looked like they cleared beta amyloid. And both of those drug companies are now going to go back to their data sets and talk to the FDA. Their spokesman actually said this, to see, well, now if there's a different bar we have to climb over that's not as high,
Right.
maybe we'll bring those drugs back. What do you think, Doug? Is that a good? It's a little scary to me, but it's also is it a good thing or a bad thing? I'm not really sure. I know. What do you think?
Yeah, it's a little scary to me as well, as somebody who's in the field of clinical research. We have changed the rules. We definitely have changed the rules. Our endpoints used to be, looking for significant changes in memory, significant changes in executive function. Our endpoint have now changed to simply the clearance of beta amyloid from the brain. It seems like the rules have changed for Alzheimer's. Now, is that good? Is that bad? Is it opening the door for more studies to be done? I suppose, opening the door and shedding a big spotlight on Alzheimer's to the country is not a bad thing. I guess bringing in more research funding now to investigate these further is not a bad thing. What's even more exciting to me, Jim, is that the studies that we are currently doing now with Irvine Clinical Research, the stuff that's in the pipeline right on the tail of aducanumab actually even looks more exciting to me than aducanumab itself.
So even if this isn't the end-all be-all, there's still hope around the corner.
Yes,
I thought about this a lot this weekend, that if I actually were a person who was diagnosed with early-stage Alzheimer's disease and was offered the opportunity to take a drug that may cause me some physical problems, yet might slow the progression by 22%.
Yes.
I would have a hard time saying no. So I absolutely understand where families are at, where caregivers are at, both with excitement and a touch of trepidation. So if there's anything that we can leave them with, I think it might be go slowly. Definitely talk to your doctor 3 times before you make any decisions, and then let's see what the data says as they study further. But I certainly will respect anybody's choice either way. This is a tough one.
Definitely speak to your doctor about it. In the next few years, Medicare is going to work out the details of how to implement this approval, what the criteria are for patients to qualify, right? How they're going to approve a PET scan and things of that sort, because again, this is a very costly treatment. But what is the price, right? What is the value that we can place on a patient or a loved one or a family member who have memory loss, and even buying them months of additional memory or slowing down? What is the price of that? I don't know.
Keeping folks with us longer. So if you'd like to learn more about clinical trials, visit www.alzoc.org. That's alzoc.org. And you'll find a way to look into clinical trials if you'd like to participate, some questions you might ask yourself about participating, and we'll update with information about aducanumab as it comes out. Thanks so much for joining us, and thank you, Dr. Trinh.
Thank you, Jim. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
All right.